driver off the deck for Corey Connors.
Here's driver off the deck for Victor Hovland.
So the driver off the deck. I know you would try this, right?
Oh my, what a shot.
Just to be able to hit it off the deck and get that thing down and fly it in running.
You have to put your foot on the gas. You pull out the driver off the deck and you put it on the green all the way up the hill.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Deck. I'm your host, Josh Decker. Today we have Dr. Dave Rhoden joining us. Off the Deck, of course, is brought to you by Idika Golf. I'm wearing the Sebastian hoodie. It's a little cooler in Birmingham today, which love the feel and fit of this hoodie. Visit idika.golf. That's IDAKA.golf and use promo code OTD25 for 25% off your purchase. Dr. Rhoden, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking time to chat today. Since this show began, I've wanted to have a master fitter and builder on the program because I feel like we were talking about in the pre-call, there are all kinds of falsehoods, misnomers, and just things that people are so wrong about with building clubs. So I want to get to that in a minute. But how did you end up doing what you're doing now, and where are you working, and what does day-to-day look like for the doc?
That's a long story. I grew up in a place where we just didn't really have a lot of access to, club fitting and club building, things like that. So I got bored one day. It was maybe 13, 14 years old, something like that, and decided I wanted to change my grips. So kind of started doing that, watched a couple YouTube videos, that kind of stuff, got into it and got them all cut off. It was a lot harder going on than it was taking them off. Tell you that for sure. And then just kind of fell in love with the process, kind of fell in love with, being able to customize stuff, being able to change stuff, being able to make it what I wanted it, rather than where it came from the factory. So it was kind of a necessity at one point, and then it just kind of turned into loving doing it. So, been around the block a couple of times. Like I say, started at 13 or 14 years old. I'm 32 now. So been doing it for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you stuff that I needed for this?
You're good.
How did you end up now, or how long have you been at New Level?
So I was, believe it or not, I was the second employee behind the original owner.
Really?
So I've been here basically since day one. The company started in 2011. I came on actually the end of, 2018. I came on kind of middle of 2019. So I've been here since. Yeah.
So how much of that have you been able to assist and offer an opinion on, just from the look and feel and everything that goes into these clubs?
Yeah. So he had a couple of designs already. Our original 623 line, the original 902 line, which are kind of the two that really put us on the map. Great heads. We actually re-released the original 623M for a little while, and in collaboration with True Linkswear. So we put their Dead Golfer logo on the back of it.
Oh yeah. Those are sick. They were black. They were awesome.
All black. Yep. They turned out really good. They were awesome. And then again, we kind of had the history with those heads as well, that they were just really solid golf clubs. So those, like I said, those kind of put us on the map. And then with Eric, we both we knew that there were some things that needed to be changed. So we were able to address that with some of the next lines. And then ultimately the 702 line that's out right now is kind of a culmination of all the things that we've learned from 623 and 902 through the PF series, through the second 902 and 623 series, through the 480s. Just kind of able to fine tune here and there, pick and choose what we liked, what we didn't like. And then again, in collaboration with some of the guys that we've worked with on the tour. So Ryan Moore's been a big part of it. Even Ches Reeve was playing the stuff for a little while. He was a big part of kind of the design side of it. We've got a couple other guys, Steven Alker, obviously being probably our biggest name and most success with the brand for a little while, picking his brain, seeing what he likes, what he doesn't like, what we should change, what we like moving forward with, and, really kind of get to put it all together and make something that, to be candid, has been the best iron we've ever made. And sales and reviews to back that up. So they've been incredible.
Yeah, right now the only finish I think that's available on the website is the chrome. Everything else is sold out, right?
So actually the other way around. So all the chrome stuff is pretty much sold out. We've got the raw stuff in stock right now. We just had a refresh of the raw stuff week and a half ago.
Okay.
And they're starting to get a little bit low already. So we're flying through them, man.
How do you balance what a professional golfer wants in an iron and what
Mhm.
me, the weekend warrior, wants?
So that is the $1,000,000 question. Uh, it's we get a lot of inspiration from the tour guys. What they like the look of, what they like the feel of, what they want it to do. The windows they would want it to come out at. But all of that being said, it really doesn't matter to the average consumer what a tour pro does with it. Right? They're the best ball strikers on the tour on the world. They're gonna hit it different than I do, or than you do, or than anybody else on the planet does. So the big thing for us, obviously, being in the building that we're in now, we've got access to a hitting bay now. We do full fittings here in the shop, so we get to kind of pick the brains of the people that come in to do fittings, the end consumer, and get an idea for what it's missing, what we need to change, and contrary to that, even what they really like about it. And then in new generations, we get to kind of address those issues and figure out what's good, figure out what's bad, and work our way from there. So
Nice.
it's kind of a collaboration between the tour and just the everyday consumer that comes in.
So, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into, just from a
Mhm.
fitting perspective. So, we have
Yeah.
a mutual friend, Will Robbins, and
Yep.
I was playing with Will at the Fields Club, I guess a couple months ago, and I'd already
Yep.
been talking to him about some irons. He had told me, he's like, "Man, New Level is the best iron on the market." And I've actually heard him tell other people that we were playing here in Birmingham not too long ago, and someone asked, they said,
Yeah.
"What kind of iron is that?" And Will looked at him just stone faced and said, "It's the best iron on the planet. You should buy it. They're New Levels."
Yep.
Um, and I hit a few of his, and I was in kind of a game improvement iron, and
Sure.
I mean, was flagging it. I mean, it was, and I love the sound that they make.
Cool.
It's more of a crack,
Oh yeah.
which is a little bit different. But what's the most common mistake that when someone is getting fit
Mhm.
that they make?
So I think the biggest thing, and it's not necessarily their fault. There's been a big push on tour for it for a long time. Is everybody falls in love with distance. And distance is great. It certainly makes it easier to score well, but it's not the end all be all. The big thing for us, we get, I hate to say it this way, but we've got neighbors here. We're based out of Scottsdale. So we've got neighbors here that like to crank the lofts really strong on their irons. They like to make game improvement distance irons, which is great for the right guy. In our experience, the right guy is very far and few between. They're not very high launching. They're not very spinny. They're not built in such a way that really helps the player. Yeah, it's great you hit your 7 iron 200 yards, but if it's carrying 180 and it's rolling out to 200 yards, that doesn't really do us any good.
Right.
So for us, like, distance is big, but it has to be playable distance. So when we talk about, oh, your loft of your 7 iron is 28 degrees, our 5 iron is 26. Like, there's some reasons there that we can't hold a green. There's some reasons there that we can't get the ball in the air. Let's do this. Let's take a look. We'll get the launch right. We'll get the spin right. See where we're at. And 99% of the time, they end up leaving with an iron that carries farther than what they had before, stops on a dime, just playable golf clubs, rather than, okay, cool, I hit my 7 iron 200 yards, but I can't hold a green.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest one we see. And then, all the other ones, the lengths, the swing weights, those things, I think, do different things than what people think they do. But it's kind of a issue for a different day.
Yeah. Well, and so that's the first time I've ever heard someone use the phrase playable distance.
Yeah.
And like a light bulb went off in my head, because you're absolutely right. Like, it's, oh, cool if I hit my 7 iron, like you said, 200 yards, but it's going to roll out
Mhm.
forever. Well, that doesn't do me any good at all.
Correct.
So the how I'm actually able to use the distance matters tremendously.
Correct.
What good is it if I can hit that seven? Oh, they're really cool. Oh, awesome. I can hit it 200 yards, but I can't stop it. So that doesn't help me at
Right.
all.
Right. And on top of all that, great, it carries 200 yards, but sometimes I carry it 180, sometimes I carry it 210. Where do we have 200 yards at? Where's the point where this is what it's going to do? I know it's going to do that every time. Now I can go play golf, right?
Yeah.
It's six and one, half dozen the other, I guess. But to us, playable distance is everything.
So in New Level, are you guys manufacturing shafts as well, or are those you're
No,
purchasing
so
shafts?
yeah, so we purchase shafts. We carry all the major brands: KBS, True Temper, Nippon. We've got Fujikura. We've got it all. So
And
If we don't carry it, if it's not in our line, we can definitely get it for you too.
okay, and how important, just in terms of the overall fitting process,
Mhm.
how important is having the correct shaft in that club?
In my opinion, it means more than the head itself. Head
Okay.
does a lot of things, but shaft is the tool that gets the club on the golf ball for us, right? So if we've got a shaft that's too heavy, too light, too stiff, too soft, whatever the case may be, it makes it that much harder to get the club on the ball. Club head is also very important. Obviously, it's got to launch well, it's got to spin well, it's got to be forgiving, it's got to be all those things. But if we can't get the club on the ball, it doesn't matter how forgiving it is. It doesn't matter how good it feels or how good it sounds or any of those things. We need a shaft that fits. We need a shaft that helps control face rotation, helps control launch, helps control spin too. I think we get into some of those irons that are super high, super low loft that are going to be that kind of, for lack of a better term, goo filled hollow body iron. It's hot, it's great, but then we're kind of taken away from ourselves by putting a higher launching shaft, a higher spinning shaft to kind of counter that,
Yeah. Okay.
where we can kind of get away with doing what works as far as shaft goes because we know the head is going to do the rest of it for us. So
Interesting.
they go hand in hand for sure. I think the shaft is as cliche as it sounds is the engine of the golf club. So
Yeah.
we got to make sure it works too. But head and shaft, I think, work continuously together to make it what it needs to be.
So I'm a 9 handicap and I come in to see you for a fitting. What are the
Yeah.
main data points that you're looking at to determine what to either test me out in, or like, oh yeah, here's but what are those data points, data sets that you're looking at to make determinations?
So we look a lot at ball speed. We look a lot at launch. We look a lot at spin. We look a lot at. It's not so much a data point as much as I hate to say it, the eyeball test. We've been doing this quite a while, so we have a pretty good idea when we look at a golf swing of what direction that club is moving. If it's a little across the line, if it's a little into out, what all of those things look like, and we can find shafts that help correct some of that. We can find weights that kind of help correct some of that. Um, it There's not really a black and white answer to that question. But for us, spin rate, launch angle, peak height is a big one for us. Descent angle is a big one for us. Again, playable distance, right? We want it
Mhm.
to go as far as we can, but we want it to launch at a certain angle. We want it to spin at a certain spin rate. We want it to do all the right things. If we sacrifice 5 to 10 yards, I'm okay with that. We know it's going to do it every time. We know we're going to be able to throw it full, close to a flag and hopefully make birdie. That's the important
So
part.
right, yeah. Um, and I think, and this is where I'd love to hear just your thoughts.
Yeah.
The players at the highest levels are
Mhm.
remarkably consistent with their golf swing.
Correct.
I, on the other hand, am not remarkably consistent with my golf swing. So,
Sure.
how do you go about fitting somebody like myself who probably can't
Mhm.
replicate the exact same golf swing
Sure.
over and over and over again to give you the visuals that you need?
So I would be willing to bet that it's a little bit more consistent than you think it is. Um, I say everybody, most people have some type of a swing identity. They do a similar thing every time.
Okay.
Yes, the numbers might look a little bit different here or there. We might be 2 degrees across one time and we might be 6 degrees across the next time, but it's going to be across, right? So we can kind of
And when you
take
say
that.
across, for my
So,
wife that's going to listen to this, when you say across, what
yeah.
does that mean?
So a little bit of the over the top move kind of comes from outside to inside.
Okay.
I say it's the standard amateur miss. Kind of generally results to that big pull cut, right?
Yep.
If
Going way
that's our
right.
shot shape, exactly. If that's our shot shape, that's probably our shot shape most of the time, right? So so yeah, the numbers might look a little bit different here or there. It might be a little bit more one time or a little bit less one time, but the shape is generally the same. So we can pull different shafts that'll kind of help correct some of that, different weights, different flexes, things like that can allow you to use the bigger muscles easier, or maybe even take some of that away from you if the case needs. Um, there's plenty of options there. Shaft manufacturers are making all kinds of different shafts. We obviously make different heads to accommodate different players. There's all kinds of options. It's Fitting is one of those things. Everybody thinks they got to be a good player to get something out of it. At the end of the day, if we're talking to a 20 handicap, getting them to a 15 is night and day for them, right? If we're talking to a scratch handicap and being like, hey, we could take you from a 0 to a +1 or a +2, that's night and day for them. There's it's all relative, right? So a 30 handicap going to a 25 is a big number for them.
Yeah.
There's always an opportunity to improve. It may not be perfect right away, but there's always opportunity to improve them by getting the right gloves in their hands.
Which you kind of that was one of the questions I had. It was like, okay, at what point is it worth a player to get a fitting done? Like,
Yeah.
at what point, what handicap is like, okay, yeah, it's time. Let's really kind of dial this in. But for you to say, if we can take the 20 down to a 15, that's huge.
Yeah.
That implies that you've worked with players that have a handicap of 20.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If we were in the fitting room, I can show you some holes in the wall from 25, 30 handicap. It happens, man. Everybody hits bad shots here and there, right? But how do we limit that the best that we can with the skill that we've got? And a lot
Mhm.
of times, as much as I hate to say it this way, I think a lot of the major manufacturers will push, okay, you're a 30 handicap. Here's the biggest, most forgiving, lightest, most distance involving golf club that we can make for you. Here it is. Go hit it. Have fun. But really, what is fun? Is fun hitting it 200 yards and shooting 170, or is fun figuring out how to hit it 250 and shoot even par?
Right.
What's better, right? I don't really care about hitting it 200 yards as long as I know that it's going to do it every time. So
Is it and how much of that, if you're talking about working with a player who has a handicap of 20 versus someone who's scratch,
Mhm.
what are gonna be the primary differences in their club build? Is that gonna be majority shaft? And, like, what is the you find is the biggest differentiator there?
so I think from a fitting standpoint, the higher the handicap, the better we're trying to make contact for them.
Okay.
So we're trying to get the ball as solid as we can. When we get to the scratch handicaps, hitting it solid isn't a problem, right? So
Mhm.
so it becomes more of a, hey man, like my miss tends to be a little bit of a draw that I don't like to see. I'd rather hit a cut. Okay, well, here's 4 or 5 options that will help encourage that cut a little bit more, kind of get away from that draw. Not to say that you can't hit it when you need it, but where can we improve on if I miss, I know that it's going to go right, not left. Or I know that we can work away from the trouble areas and towards the strength rather than being stuck somewhere that we don't want to be. So from the fitting standpoint, I think that's the biggest answer there. That's the biggest way to make that difference. From the build standpoint, obviously the specs are the specs. You got to build them to the specs, which I think is probably our biggest claim to fame. We get guys all the time. If you look on WRX or you look on any of our reviews, if you look anywhere online that talks about us, 99% of the time you're going to see something of I ordered it at these specs and they came in at these specs. That's the biggest thing for us. I've been in big box. I've been with all the other manufacturers. I've looked at their specs. 99% of the time, the spec sheet isn't what their actual golf clubs are built at. So
That's crazy.
it's insane. It's insane to me. Lofts and lies seem to be the easiest thing on the world, but they're never right. It's insane.
Which and I was curious about just kinda what sets New Level apart as a
Mhm.
direct consumer club
Yeah,
from the big box stuff, and for you like, for someone to leave a review that says, "Oh, the specs were what I ordered,"
yeah.
that is jarring,
It
like
is the simplest thing to be like, okay, this guy ordered this set at these specs, and we hit it. It seems to be the simplest thing on the planet, but most manufacturers get it wrong. We know the horror stories. I ordered my clubs at an inch over and they came in at a half inch over, or they came at an inch under, or whatever the case may be. It's absolutely insane. Specs are specs. It shouldn't be that hard to hit, but
yeah.
people have
Is
problems
that
with it.
just laziness on their part or
So this answer is probably going to be a little bit, uh, I don't know. PC is not the right word, but we get a lot of guys that the industry is the industry and it's big box and it's multi-billion-dollar industry, right? So what ends up happening a lot of times is the guys that are building the golf clubs aren't really golfers, right? So they don't know what a 34-degree 7-iron is. They just know that it's a 7-iron and I got to build it and it's got to ship tomorrow. So they don't understand what the difference is between 34 and 33 degrees, right? They don't
Okay.
know the difference between 1 degree up and 1 degree flat. They don't know those things. So for lack of a better term, maybe the care isn't quite there compared to us. We're a very small team. We're 4 guys in a build shop, basically. Um, we don't fit the same mold that all the major brands do. Um, we care. I think that's the biggest answer is we just care.
It's crazy to me that you just said it's just 4 guys.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
so what's day to day like at the office around there? It has to be a
It's
blast.
yeah, it's an absolute blast. It's 4 guys in a room talking trash at each other all day and building golf clubs, man. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's
And
what
how
we do.
frequently are orders coming in?
So we print orders every morning. We'll print orders probably right about lunchtime, right before lunch, right after lunch, kind of depending on how the morning went.
Mhm.
Um, myself and another guy, DJ, kind of build everything. The 2 of us do all the fittings as well. So depending on what's going on there, one of us might be in a fitting while the other one's building, or vice versa. So the day to day gets pretty busy. It can get pretty hectic. We're pushing probably, I don't know, we can do probably 15 to 30 orders a day depending on what's going on. We ran a sale over Memorial Weekend. We had a stack of about 160 orders, so which
Whoa.
is great over a weekend. So
Yeah.
the weekend, but it
So
was
you said you need 15 or 30 a day. So that means 15 sets, 15 to 30 sets that you all will
uh,
fully assemble?
we can. We're certainly capable of it. Those orders, sometimes it's a wedge, sometimes it's a driving iron, sometimes it's a set of irons, sometimes it's a demo club. It just kind of depends on what's going on. But we we've pushed out. Black Friday is probably our biggest time of the year. We always do something for Black Friday, be it 10% off irons or whatever the case may be. We do a lot of orders through that time. We're capable, if we do full sets, we're capable of doing 15 to 30 a day. If we have just individual irons, or we do like a sale on utilities or wedges or something like that, we might get 40 to 50. It just kind of depends on what's going on.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time looking at that utility iron
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
So I got my set from Will Robbins.
Yeah.
I guess it's been a month or so now, and I used to be terrified of any kind of blade,
Okay.
and I absolutely adore standing over my 4-iron,
Yeah.
and that is it is the
Yeah.
strangest
Well,
mindset that I've ever been in.
so that's kind of the fun part for us, and especially with the 702 line, we were able to make it very small in comparison to the forgiveness that we get. So we're able to pack all of that forgiveness into a player's shape, into something that doesn't look like a game improvement iron. Move the weight around the way that we want it to be. Just make it what it's supposed to be. Make it as forgiving as we can make it while still looking like a blade.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to hear that. But second, this utility iron, what's going on with that?
So I'm fascinated by it. So I
Yeah.
have pulled my hybrid out of my bag,
Okay.
because we do not get along well.
Um,
So I've got a gap, and that's what I'm trying to solve for.
okay.
I can get my 4-iron probably 215, 220.
Okay.
Um, and then I've got a 3-wood and driver. So I feel like I need a 230-ish.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. You're playing CBs, 702s?
Yeah.
Yeah. 21 degrees, probably going to be really good for you.
Okay.
What shaft are you playing?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Will. I know I'm playing something. He told me it's corked, and I was like, "Wait, did you
Okay.
cork my bat? Like, what did you do?" Um,
I'd
but
I'd be interested to see what shaft it is. We can get something put together for you.
okay, yeah, I'll have to ping you afterwards. It's first time there's
Absolutely.
ever been a live fitting on
Hey,
on a podcast that I'm aware
we
of.
we do this too, man. We do virtual fittings all the time. So,
Really? Okay. And
oh yeah.
so, do you turn on camera and you watch the person swing? Because I was curious.
So,
Like again, back to the inconsistencies.
yeah.
Some people have really bad golf swings, and
Yeah.
is there a point where you're like, "Hey, we got to get better at actually making contact with a golf ball before
Oh,
we can
absolutely.
really experience the
Absolutely.
value?" Yeah,
Absolutely. In my opinion, I think the industry, and not even just the golf industry, but just the industries in general, I think there's a big push to sell stuff, and the selling maybe isn't advantageous for the customer a lot of times. For us, I would much rather tell you, look, man, maybe we need to take some of this money that we're going to spend on golf clubs and invest in a couple of lessons here and there, and really get something dialed, rather than putting you into something that, yeah, it might work today, but tomorrow it's going to be a nightmare for us.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people these days, I think, in my opinion at least, I think it's a little bit refreshing that somebody's not trying to sell me something I don't need.
Right.
And telling me, look, man, I think you get more out of doing some lessons here and there. And if we want to do some golf clubs later, we're happy to do it for you. But
Hmm.
let's work on a couple of things. Let's get that golf swing looking a little bit better. Get that golf swing just better in general. Make contact better, and then we can come back and revisit this and see where we're at, see what works, rather than kind of taking a guess on where you're going to be in a year. That's always been my opinion. I've done that in every fitting uh, that I've ever been in. If I don't think you're going to get what you should get out of these golf clubs, I'm not going to sell them to you.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
Honesty. What a
yeah,
novel concept.
it's insane, man. Yeah,
The 702s are out right now.
yep,
They're crushing it. What players on tour are playing those right now?
yeah. So Steven Alker's been playing them for since they were in prototype phase, even.
Okay.
Absolutely loves them. Steven is the least needy tour pro I think I've ever met in my life.
It sounds like a
Uh,
dream.
we legitimately we see him maybe 4 times a year.
Okay.
And most of the time that's to, hey, can you check these lofts and lies? Hey, can you maybe throw a couple of grips on for me? It's never a hey man, I'm not hitting these good. What am I doing? What's going on? Can we build something else? It's never that. So Steven doesn't change much, and his golf swing doesn't change much. So he is the least needy tour pro I've ever met. We get a lot of tinkerers too that come in, but he to answer your question, 702 line, Steven's been playing him for a long time. Ryan Moore was playing him for a long time. He's not playing a whole lot on tour anymore, but we've got some other stuff kind of in the lines that a lot of our guys are kind of working on right now. So we've got a mix of guys that are playing a couple different things. Alistair Doherty just won on the Corn Ferry Tour a couple of weeks ago. He's actually playing one of our older heads,
Okay.
which loves him. To be candid with you, we can't figure out why he loves him so much, and he can't really explain it, but he loves them. So they're going to be in his bag for a while. Uh, so we've got positive feedback from all the tour pros.
Yeah.
Everybody that we worked with at the 702 line looks great, feels great, does what it's supposed to do. It just kind of comes down to we're not going to force one of these guys to go play something they don't like. So if they like one of the older models a little bit better, we have no problem with it. It still says new level on it. They're still wearing our hats, still carrying our bag. So we have no problem.
So exciting stuff in the works. You kind of hinted at that a little bit.
Very exciting stuff in the works. We're probably looking probably early next year
Okay.
for some stuff. It's going to be a little bit different than the 702 stuff. Um, really solid. Looks great, feels great, does everything it's supposed to do, just like everything else we make. Um, but couple little changes that I think a
Okay.
lot of the world is going to like.
You said feels great, and I was
Yeah,
curious how much of weight someone should put on the feel of the club versus the numbers they may be seeing on that TrackMan.
that's a tough one for me. I am a feel player, uh,
Okay.
above numbers, above all of that. I think numbers are very important. Don't get me wrong. I'm obviously a fitter first, but a player second. And so as long as they're close for me personally, I don't mind, a 7 iron that spins 500 RPM too high. I don't mind a shaft that maybe launches a half a degree too high or 2 degrees too high. Like it doesn't bother me so much. I have enough game that I can manipulate the club face to do whatever I need it to do. So
Okay.
it doesn't bother me so much. And I think if you talk to a lot of the tour pros out there, they'd rather overspin it and they'd rather launch it a little bit higher than the other way around.
They'd rather
They can
overspin
always,
it.
I think, yeah, most tour pros will tell you they'd rather overspin it than underspin it,
Okay.
especially playing out there. The greens are firm, greens are fast. They need the little bit of extra spin. So if it's spinning a little bit too much, they can always take some off. It's hard to add spin. So feel wise for me, I think that that's a little bit more important in
Hmm.
my own game. That said, I think we talk about it all the time. If it doesn't feel good, you're never going to be happy with it. So let's make it feel good, number one, and number two, let's try to figure out how we can make the numbers where they need to be while still feeling good.
Well,
That's
and
that's
I guess
one
that's
A and
the
one B.
yeah, that's what I've experienced with that 4-iron. Like,
Yeah,
again, I never in my wildest dreams did I
yeah,
think I would enjoy pulling 4-iron. I mean,
absolutely,
obviously, I'd like to be closer to the green than that. Um,
absolutely.
but it's the feel of it, the sound of it. I love
Mhm.
standing over it.
It's confidence, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I
You
went
put
with
the
the
club down and you know
copperhead.
you're gonna hit it good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I went with the copperheads and already had some BB&F ferrules that I sent to
yeah,
Will for him to do the build. And I
oh, yeah,
went to Auburn, so I had some custom ones done that looked like the Auburn football helmet. So on
yeah.
that copper, they pop. I mean,
They pop, man.
it's it looks really, really good. Does
We've done some kind of one-off finishes with some other things over the years, but that copper has by far been our best, I think, and had the best reaction from the public. So we might bring that back out at some point. We'll see.
okay? Um, uh, what's the craziest build you've ever gotten?
In terms of specs, or in
Yeah.
terms of man,
And you might have to dumb it down a little bit, but yeah, just out of curiosity.
so we have a game improvement iron called our GI 22, which is built to be kind of a rocket launcher, to be for lack of a better term. They're fairly strong. They're super forgiving. They actually look and feel really good for what they are. But I built a set of those with KBS C Taper 130X at an inch and a half over and 2 degrees upright, which was kind of wild.
Okay, there's a lot
Uh,
going on there.
there's a lot going on there. That wasn't a fitting. That was just somebody that ordered them online. But the question is always asked: who needs a super game improvement iron with a KBS 130 super
Right.
low spin shaft? It's it doesn't make sense on paper to me, but he actually sent us a review shortly after that and said he loved them. So seems to
Guess
work.
it worked.
I guess it worked, but it's never something that I would think I would ever put in somebody's hand. But
Yeah.
if it works, it works.
And so you guys have done wedges, utility irons,
Yeah.
and then the irons.
Yep.
Any plans for drivers or anything like that down the road?
Zero. Zero.
Really?
Zero. So for us, the hard part being as small as we are, being four guys in a building, it's number one, the R&D takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of money to do. It takes a lot of just knowledge of number one, where everybody's at right now, from the major manufacturers to the other, D2C companies. You have to know what you're competing against right now, but the bigger part of that is you have to know what you're competing against, 2 years from now, by the time all the R&D is done, by the time we get product in our hands, and by the time we're ready to build and ship. Some of the other manufacturers might already come out with two other drivers by then.
Yeah.
So it's not
Wow.
so much what are we competing against today, it's what are we competing against 2 years down the road. That's a hard conversation to have. That's a hard thing to judge when you're some of the big manufacturers and you've already know what's in the pipeline for the next 3 or 4 years. We can kind of compete with what the generation prior is doing, but for us trying to get into it, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of things that, to be candid with you, we just don't have yet. So wood's probably not going to happen. We had a hybrid out for a little while. You still might be able to find some on the website. It was good for the right guy, wasn't great for the general population, I would say. So we decided to kind of turn that off too. So from driving iron to wedges, we know we're good at them. We know that what we've done in the past has worked, and we know where we're going with those. So we kind of try to focus on that as much as we can. And the woods, it's kind of, by the time we get everything said and done, you're still going to go buy a ping because it feels better and it goes farther and it does all the things. So it's not our market. Our market is to make really good forged irons and wedges.
Which there's something to be said about like knowing your lane and staying in
Yeah,
it and just crushing it, right?
yeah.
Like,
The easiest thing I can say is Scotty Cameron is known for making putters. He's not going to make irons, right?
right, right.
That's not his place. His place is to make really good putters.
So in terms of R&D and just kind of what you were touching on there,
Yeah.
if you guys have like you've already got something else in the works, What is lead time on those being forged and arriving there in Scottsdale for you to then assemble once they go
Yeah.
live? Like, just timeline on developing a golf club head, having
Yeah.
it forged, arriving to you.
So from start to finish, doing all the R&D, doing all that good stuff, we're probably about a year out.
Okay.
That gives us time to get. It sounds funny to say this, but we kind of do it the old school way. For a lack of a better term, we kind of sketch stuff out on a cocktail napkin and see what it looks like, see what we think it'll do. Um, I say that we actually use an iPad and do it all fancy and digital and all that good stuff, but we'll send that kind of off to the factory and say, this is kind of what we want it to look like. This is what we want it to do. These are the lofts and lies that we're thinking. This is where we want the CG to be. And then again, we'll send them that kind of rough sketch of what we want it to look like. And they'll come back with a CAD version of it, where we can kind of fine tune what exactly we want it to be. Um, so through all that process, actually getting prototypes made, getting those in stock or in store, building a couple of sets of those for, like I say, it's four of us. So we build our four sets. We build some sets for, some of the tour players, some of those kind of things, and get their opinions on it too. Um, the entire process is probably about a year or so.
Wow.
So 702s came out. What 702s have been around for about a year and some change now. They were out for probably 5 or 6 months before we kind of started to be like, okay, let's talk about next year. So
That's crazy.
it goes pretty quick. It
Yeah.
it sounds like a year is a long time. I know it does, but it's by the time we get all the R&D stuff done, get them ordered, it's about a 90-day turnaround from the day we say, okay, these are good to go, push the button, send them. About 90 days from that point to when they show up at our door. And then again,
Okay.
doing all the photos, doing all the other good stuff. About a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, I'd never even thought about the competition of like Titleist, for instance.
Yeah.
They have an entire R&D staff that is more
Oh, yeah.
employees than you have a new level.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just their
um,
engineering team alone is bigger than our entire company. So
yeah,
it's tough.
which is wild.
Yeah.
So what's been the highlight? You've been there now. So you said you started in 2019. So this is what,
Yep.
7 years? What's been a highlight for you working there?
Oh, man. So the original owner sold it a couple years ago. The ownership group that we're with now, has a lot of different hands and a lot of different fires. The biggest of which allows us access to a lot of tour pros.
Nice.
So being able to kind of pick their brains on what they like, what they don't like. Um, you know, we talked about Ryan a little bit earlier. Ryan has hit pretty much every iron you can name. So he's got a lot of ideas and a lot of opinions on what was good and what was bad in a lot of these other irons. And we're able to pick his brain a lot, as far as what was good and what was bad about all the irons he's ever played, and really kind of pick what's good and change what's bad, and ultimately make the end product that much better. So picking tour players' brains is probably my biggest thing, I would say.
Yeah.
And then, getting to kind of build a little bit of a relationship with some of these guys. JJ Spawn comes in here all the time. He works out in the gym that's attached to our building.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
so he's in all the time. We got to pick his brain about the US Open and, what was going through his brain when that putt went in and, all that fun stuff. I would say the relationships that are built with some of those guys is probably the highlight of where we're at now. And then again, seeing, stuff that I've had a hand in the design process or the build process or the fitting process, um, that have had big success on their respective tours. They say Stevens obviously set the world on fire on the Champions Tour.
Hmm.
Alistair Doherty got his first Corn Ferry win here not too long ago. Got him into the Open Championship for next year, which is huge.
Wow.
There's been a lot of really cool stuff, that, not to sound cocky or ego-y, but to be some part of that is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, and I guess,
Absolutely.
have you had an instance yet where a tour pro has come to you and asked for something for you guys, like, tasked you with building something that is unique to what you currently offer? Like, almost a complete 180, like, let's change things
Yeah.
entirely? Like, is that
Uh, yes and no. Um, we've we have one iron that we designed for one specific player, which ended up being a pretty solid iron. Um, he was kind of the reason that that iron exists, to be totally honest with you. Uh, so yes, to answer your question, but also not not a lot.
Yeah.
Um, the biggest thing I think that we see is maybe Steven, for instance, getting a little bit older here and there, right? Golf swing changes, speed changes a little bit.
Hmm.
I think most of those guys, the biggest changes you see are okay. Maybe we take a step back in swing weight, or maybe we take a step back in shaft weight, or it's more of those kind of things, and they're not big changes. Golf swing changed a little bit. Now I need my lies, a couple degrees flatter. Those kind of things. They're not really reinventing the wheel, so to speak. Um,
Hmm.
Minor changes more than anything, I would say. It's fun though. It's all good.
Well, and like there's something just romantic, or not, it's not the
Yeah.
right word, but something nice about you being one of four people and the
Yeah.
flexibility and how nimble and like you guys can pivot on a dime. Like if
Oh
you
yeah.
wanted to change things tremendously, you could. Not that you
Oh
want
yeah.
to do that, but that's unique in the space, I think. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have four guys that have to agree on something, not the four guys in the room plus
Committee.
four guys in the room above us, plus the ownership, plus everybody else. We
Right.
got four guys that make that decision. So for us to all be on the same page is probably a little bit easier than it is for some of the bigger OEMs. Um, and everybody here is pretty like minded. Everybody's a golf nerd in this place. I'm terrible with names, but I can tell you if I see your name come across my table, I can tell you exactly what irons you're playing that I built 2 years ago.
Wow.
So
That's
it's funny.
wild.
It's funny. I am awful with names, but I can tell you your specs, and I met you 2 years ago. Like
Yeah.
it's so we're nerds, man. This is what we do. This is why we do it.
How so and I'm a huge fan of True Links. Like, I
Yeah,
wear their stuff daily. I've got the knits on right now. Like, I
absolutely,
love their shoes.
absolutely.
How did that partnership come about with the Dead Golfer irons? I didn't
Yeah,
purchase any, but they are sick.
yeah. So the ownership group that owns True Linkswear is actually the same ownership group that owns us as well.
Oh,
So they
okay.
are effectively sister companies of ours.
Yeah.
So the we're kind of the same in the way that we do things. We're, for a lack of a better term, kind of that minimalist type mindset.
Mhm.
So we're not going to hit you with giant logos. We're not going to hit you with crazy colors and really trying to change a lot. But we're really good at doing the absolute best stuff that we can do without the flash and the excitement of some of the other brands. So the collaboration between the two of us is a very simple and easy process. Again, they're very like-minded as to us, kind of that smaller company feel, while still making really good quality product. So it's
Okay.
it's an easy thing for us to bounce ideas off of each other, and all of us wear TrueLink stuff, and all the TrueLinks wear guys play new level stuff. So it all works back and forth easy.
That's cool. Have you played in their thing out at Gamble Sands?
I did not get to do the Gamble Sands one. They did an event here, actually in Phoenix, the Duel in the Desert last year, or year
Okay.
before maybe, which we did play in. Obviously, being in our backyard, we kind of had to show up and dominate. So
Right, right.
yeah, so that
Yeah,
was that was a blast. The Gamble Sands thing looked awesome. I wish I was a part of it, but somebody had to stay at home and hold the fort down. So
and take and build sets of irons, complete order.
exactly, exactly. Yep.
What's your favorite track to play around Scottsdale?
Oh man. Public, I would say Southern Dunes is probably top of that list.
Okay.
Southern Dunes, they do a lot of USGA events out there. It's a really, really good golf course. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a Freddie Couples golf course.
Okay.
So it's everything you want. It is. There are so many tees out there that you can play a tee that makes sense for you. Um, I'm kind of a long ball hitter, so I like to play it all the way back and still get to hit every club in the bag. There's a lot of golf courses out here where I hit driver and wedge on every hole, and it's a lot less fun that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some of the par fives, when they get them stretched out, I've got to hit five woods into greens. I've got to hit driving iron into green. I've got to hit the par threes. There's a couple of them that are 200 plus, so it can play tough. But it's always in good shape. The greens are great. Golf ball does what it's supposed to do. It's tough, but it's fair. So
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite golf course out here. Papago's really good. Par threes again are outrageously hard. So gotta bring the long clubs there. But there's so much good golf here, man. There's too many golf courses here to even mention all of them.
It's insane.
It's
Have you spent
insane.
much time out at Whisper Rock?
No, that's actually the one that I haven't gotten out to yet.
Okay.
I've played all the other good ones out here. I've played the Silverleafs. I've played Mirabelle. I've played all those, but Whisper Rock is the one I haven't gotten out to yet.
Yeah, it sounds like the stories that come out of that place are just legendary from
Oh yeah,
tour pros.
oh yeah. It's basically the PGA Tour in a country club.
Yeah, that's
There's
crazy.
every PGA Tour pro in the area is a member at Whisper. It seems.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite club in the bag right now?
Ooh, I would say my 46 degree spin V3.
Okay.
So
And
I
why is
I
that?
play it as a pitching wedge. So I don't carry pitching wedge. I carry the 46 degree spin. It is incredibly easy to flight, so I can hit it a little bit lower and penetrating and spin it still.
Hmm.
But I can hit it as high as I want to. It's kind of it's a jack of all trades for me.
Okay.
So I can hit it just like a regular pitching wedge. It carries about 150. But I can also dial it back to 130 if I need it. So
Okay.
it's just versatile. I love it.
Yeah. In the last 12 months,
Mhm.
course that was new to you? What's been your favorite one that you've played?
That's a good question. I went out to. That's a good question, man. I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
Nowhere new you've played lately that really just sparked your imagination?
That's the thing, man. I get stuck out here. We end up playing the same 4 golf courses all the time. So, uh, the last one I went to, I took a trip to Hilton Head, which was probably the last new golf course I played. We played there's a golf trail out there. The name escapes me for some reason. RTJ, Robert Trent Jones.
Oh, in Birmingham, in
Ever played that?
Alabama.
Yeah. No, so no, in Hilton Head,
There's an
there's a couple
RTJ
RTJ
trail in
courses.
Alabama or in Hilton? I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a couple of courses out there. So that was probably the last one that I remember playing a new golf course.
Okay.
Uh, it was great. It was great. Golf course was awesome. Kind of runs up alongside the ocean on a couple of holes there.
Oh, yeah.
It is absolutely incredible. If you ever get the chance, certainly worth it.
Okay. Okay.
Certainly worth it.
If you could put together a dream foursome, who would be in it?
Dead or alive matter.
Dead or alive.
So I would love to play around a golf with Arnie.
Mm,
Just to hear the stories, just to pick his brain, just to everybody knows about the club collection. I'm a club nerd, so to pick his brain on what over the years what has surprised him with some of the technologies that have come out, those kind of things would be an absolute dream to me. Um, Obviously Tiger's got to be on the list, I would think.
yeah.
And then there's a couple other guys that might surprise you. I'd love to play with JJ again.
Yeah.
He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. So what you see on TV is him.
He seems like he'd
He
just hang out and chat. Like he just would sit
he
at the bar
does.
with us and have a beer.
He does, man. Like I say, he'll come in after workout and just kind of hang out, shoot the shit with us, and talk about golf, man. That's him in a nutshell. There's a
That's
couple
cool.
other guys. Mark Mulder, I would probably put on that list.
Okay.
He's a big guy that's been around here a long time. Um, he'll come in and again just sit down in the chair in the build shop and talk to us while we're building golf clubs like it's nothing. Would have been a Hall of Fame player, pitcher for the.
Mhm.
So he played for the Athletics for a little while, and then played for the Cardinals. I'm a big Cardinals fan, so
Okay.
getting to meet him was kind of I watched him on TV growing up all the time. So watching his golf swing and build some golf clubs for his kids and those kind of things is always fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I, there's more than 4, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, you could have two. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dave, I really appreciate you taking time to come on the show and
Absolutely,
chat. I'm definitely going to figure out what shafts I have in my irons so we can
absolutely,
figure out this utility situation.
absolutely, man. Let me
Um,
know.
and I'm out that way occasionally, so I'll definitely give you a shout and would love to
Absolutely,
come by and see the
absolutely,
store and
man.
everything.
We're
So
always here. Let us know.
awesome. Well, for Dr. Dave Rhoden, I'm Josh Stecker. This has been another episode of Off the Deck.